There is a youth movement for the Florida Gators safety room. We're going to talk about that here on Locked On Gators bonus episode.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. Happy Wednesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. Welcome to the last day of two-a-days. Love you. Last day of two-a-days because the Florida Gators play football tomorrow. And I'm ready to I'm ready to bite someone's head off, okay? I'm just letting you know that. But the Florida Gators depth chart came out on Monday. They named Miguel Mitchell and Jordan Castell as the starting safeties. That is a very fun combination to talk about because Miguel Mitchell was always the expectation. I know that for Florida Gators fans, at least a lot publicly, it's Kamari Wilson has to be the guy. He was the highest rated commit in 2022. He was the guy. He was the IMG curse. He did all these things. I get it. No. I mean, I said this in January, I think it was, maybe February. It was like Senior Bowl week. So it was January turning February. But I said, hey, this coaching staff, they think Miguel Mitchell is the best safety on this roster. That hasn't really changed. Okay, like Miguel Mitchell is still the guy that they are highest on. He is safety one on this team. So that's not the surprising part. Jordan Castell, on the other hand, is a surprising part, a very fun surprising part at that. I have a theory that I think Jordan Castell was listed as a starting safety here because the Gators are taking a matchup specific approach. Last year, Utah tight ends, specifically Brant Kuithe, destroyed the Florida Gators. Brant Kuithe, we'll see if he plays. But Jordan Castell last year when he was in high school, played corner in a very similar defensive system. Because again, this is not like a unique system. It's becoming more and more popular. It's modern defense. So Jordan Castell played corner in a very similar defense in high school. A lot of man coverage. Because he quarters, which means basically on the outside you're playing man there. And he has just insane physical traits. Jordan Castell played corner last year. Nick Saban wanted him to play linebacker, and he's going to be starting at safety for the Florida Gators. Okay? So my theory is that this is a matchup-specific depth chart. Historically, RJ Moten has had tackle struggles before, and you can't have those against Utah. You have to be able to come up and make the tackles against Utah because they're going to run the football a lot, and they're going to hope that when they get it to their playmakers or their receivers, they can make plays. So RJ Moten has had his struggles tackling. Jordan Castell can match up with and I'm not saying Jordan Castell is not going to have struggles with tackles. We'll see what he's going to do. But RJ Moten has had struggles with tackles. Jordan Castell, big dude. 6'2", long as hell, rocked up frame. He can match up well with tight ends. I'm letting you know this now. I'm going to speak about Jordan Castell and how he should be used the same way that I spoke about how Trey Dean should have been used. Okay? And I'm not saying Jordan Castell is Trey Dean. I'm saying they should have been used the same way. They're tall, they're long, they're athletic. Match them up with tight ends. They're strong as hell. Match them up with tight ends. I think that's why Jordan Castell is listed as getting the start against Utah, because he's going to match up well with tight ends. Whether it's Thomas Yasmin or Brant Kuithe, Jordan Castell can match up with tight ends. He can play man with them, or at least he's your better bet of playing man with them. RJ Moten would be a little undersized compared to these big tight ends. So let Jordan Castell be that guy. Let him match up with the tight ends. Let him be someone that you bring down into the box and you match up with the tight end, and if they run the ball, you go make a play. So that's my theory as to why Jordan Castell is starting with Miguel Mitchell. Miguel Mitchell, again, was always the starter. But I think that's why Jordan Castell is getting the start. Because when you go to Utah, or when you play Utah, even in the swamp, missed tackles will kill you. And so they don't want missed tackles. The tight ends in the passing game will kill you. They don't want tight ends open. And again, we're playing more man this year in Gainesville. Man up on the tight end. Jordan Castell played corner in a man-heavy scheme. Make the damn play. Make the damn connection there, okay? So that's my theory as to why Jordan Castell is the starting safety on the depth chart for the Florida Gators. But there's still a lot in this safety room to talk about, and we're about to do that. Before I do that, the Florida Gators play football tomorrow against the Utah Utes. If you're in Salt Lake City or going to Salt Lake City and you're looking for tickets this late, Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. The Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price, and if you find tickets in the same section or row for less, or same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I used it a few weeks ago, went to go watch Braves at Mets, loved it. Mets got a win, which is not something I'm used to seeing, and it was awesome. Snag tickets with without the stress. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 with Game Time. So download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. I will say before I get into the rest of it, thank you so much to anybody who's tuned in to these 2-a-days. I've had a freaking blast doing them. Exhausting, but I've had a blast doing them, and they're a ton of fun, so appreciate you tuning in. But looking at this safety room, I think we see a lot of rotation here. RJ Moten is going to play a lot. I know that maybe he's not the best matchup for Utah, but especially if you go, okay, like we've got him in a situation that we want. If your theory was Jordan Castell needs to play in coverage, maybe you put RJ Moten in on early downs and you let him be the brain there and the communicator in the secondary. If your theory is RJ Moten can play coverage, run defense might be an issue, then you put RJ Moten in if you get them in passing down situations and you work with that. So whatever it is, RJ Moten is going to play a lot this year. His experience and IQ are very valuable for the Florida Gators defense. They have a very young defense. They've got a young secondary. They've got a relatively inexperienced defense at multiple spots. RJ Moten's experience, not just playing football, but RJ Moten's experience with Michigan, he had 2 defensive coordinators. They both played similar defenses on the back end to what Florida is going to do this year. Okay? He played for Michigan last year. He started for Michigan for most of the year last year when they were a playoff team. RJ Moten has valuable experience that nobody else on the Florida Gators has, offensively or defensively. So RJ Moten is going to play. He's got the experience that's going to elevate this defense, I believe, and the communication to do so as well. One thing I loved seeing about this defense and the safety depth chart specifically, I loved seeing Bryce Thornton listed as safety 3 for both spots. He was safety 3 at the starting spot with Miguel Mitchell, and he was safety 3 at the starting spot that had Jordan Castell. So I love seeing that. Like, I remember when Bryce Thornton committed, I was talking about, hey, he's a versatile piece. He could do it all. He played a pretty complex defense. He played in a college scheme defense last year. Like, he played this modern style that we're seeing Florida. And he played in multiple spots in the secondary. He played in the slot. He played the deep spot. He played all over. So he's got experience at least doing that. Now he's got to do it at the SEC, which is obviously different. But he's been playing multiple spots. He's been a versatile piece that could function in multiple spots in this safety room. And I remember a few months ago going, hey, I wonder if he's going to get playing time here. I don't know how much safety 3 is going to play, but he's on a depth chart. I'm assuming that means, hey, we're at least considering you to actually get the start here, or we're actually at least considering you to actually get playing time here. And you love seeing that. Like, it's awesome to also just look at how many freshmen are on the depth chart in general. But safety, you have Miguel Mitchell's a true sophomore. So is Kamari Wilson. Jordan Castell is a true freshman. So is Bryce Thornton. The only guy that's consistently experienced there is RJ Moten. Like, this is a young secondary that's terrifying because youth usually means mistakes at some points. However, last year, Florida started trading and Rashad Torrance II, where there was a ton of mistakes, mostly trading, but there were a ton of mistakes. So why not be like, hey, we have youth and they can get experience and still make their mistakes if the vets were going to do it anyway. So I'm very much looking forward to a just completely different safety room for the Florida Gators in 2023. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first or second listen of the day every day. We'll be back tomorrow. Florida Gators game day crossover Thursday. So JT Wistersill looking right at you. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33, and I will see you all tomorrow.